فاصبر صبرا جميلا.
Now we're going to go into the things that break your fasting, inshaAllah ta'ala. Bi'idhnillah al-kareem. Eating and drinking deliberately break your fasting. What about if a person eats and drinks by accident? There was an accident. I came up, I woke up, I forgot I was fasting. I went to the kitchen, got myself a meal, and I ate. Right here. I had breakfast and I had lunch. Yeah, and I had desserts. And just before Asr, I remembered, or just before Maghrib, 20 minutes, I realized, no, it's Ramadan. Is my fasting valid? The fasting is valid. Allah is very kind. Man akala, oh shariba. Anyone who drinks or eats nasiyan because he or she forgot. The Prophet said, فَلْيُتِمَّ صَوْمَهُ فَإِنَّمَا أَطْعَمَهُ اللَّهُ وَسَقَى. The one who fed you and took care of you is who? Allah. But the person who sees this person eating or drinking, what's their responsibility? Should you inform them or should you let them just enjoy themselves? Yeah? Hey, who believes, put your hand up, who believes you should let the brother or the sister get to the bottom of their rizq? Put your hand up. If you feel like it's their rights, let them enjoy themselves. I don't know about you guys, but when I was young, I was told, leave the parents. My parents told me, leave. Especially my mom. She was like, leave. And she would tell the other one off if he went and told the person. Like, so I thought when I was young, anyone who's eating or drinking, I would never stop them. I'll just watch them. Say, Allahumma barik. In my head. But it falls under the hadith, man ra'a minkum munkaran. Anyone who sees a munkar. Eating in Ramadan is a munkar. Even though the person is not going to sin for doing it, but it's a munkar. Eating in Ramadan is munkar. Does that make sense? So it falls under the hadith, فَلْيُغَيِّرْهُ بِيَدِهِ فَإِنْ لَمْ يَسْتَطِعْ فَبِقَلْبِهِ فَإِنْ لَمْ يَسْتَطِعْ فَبِلِسَانِهِ فَإِنْ لَمْ يَسْتَطِعْ فَبِلِسَانِهِ فَإِنْ لَمْ يَسْتَطِعْ فَبِقَلْبِهِ وَذَلِكَ أَضْعَفُ الْإِيمَانِ. So you have to tell the person, say, look, stop drinking or eating. Okay? What about if the person has sexual intercourse because he or she forgot? We said eating and drinking because you forgot. What about if the wife and the husband forgot both of them and they had sexual intercourse? What about that? What's going to happen to that? Is the fasting correct or no? None of the two remember. You might think it's an awkward. You might think it's that even possible. Yeah, I've actually received few emails on that issue where both parties forgot that it was Ramadan. Yeah? Huh? Well, does it fall under this hadith? Or so put your hand up if you believe the fasting is gone. Khalas. Hey, put your hand up if you think no, the fasting is valid. They forgot. Yeah. So they forgot because this hadith will not be the evidence. This hadith only spoke about eating and drinking. But you can use the general evidence of the Prophet ﷺ where he said, إِنَّ اللَّهَ تَجَاوَزَ عَنْ أُمَّتِي الْخَطَأُ وَالنِّسْيَانُ وَمَا اسْتُكْرِهَ عَلَيْهِ. Allah has forgiven anyone who has been what? Who does a mistake or forgets or is forced to do something, is coerced into it. Those three people are forgiven. So inshaAllah ta'ala, the person is what? Is forgiven. So any sort of if the person forgets, there's nothing upon it. What about if a person takes in something that does not give nutrition to the body? As we know, water, drinking and eating, all it gives you nutrition, the body needs it. But somebody puts something in his mouth, there's no taghadhi, yani he doesn't get nutrition from it. For example, salt. Sah? You're not going to gain weight or something from it. But it's got some benefit in it. Okay, give me another benefit. Smoking. Yeah? It invalidates it, even though there no form of nutrition it's got in it. Or exactly. So anything that goes into the mouth, anything that goes into what? No. So if a person goes and cuts out from some trees, leaves from the tree and just eats on that, it breaks his fast, right? Like, for example, anyone who has qat, you guys know what qat is, right? Yeah? It's a tobacco, the thing that the Yemenis and Somalis, they eat. It's a drug, but it's leaves. They eat that. There's no source of benefit in it. It's just tree, you're eating leaves, but it's a tobacco. So all of those, they break your fast. What about taking syringe? So it's not in my mouth, syringe being put in my body. What's the ruling regarding that? Huh? What about that? So it's not my mouth, but it's put in my body. Yeah? Correct. So we break the syringe that's put into you. Does it give you nutrition or not? Why? Because it doesn't go into your mouth. Anything that goes into your mouth, what does it do? It breaks it. Whether it gives you nutrition or not, it doesn't matter. Anything you take from the mouth, okay, it breaks. But if it comes into your body in any other way, we condition if it's a source of nutrition. So if the syringe that the person put in his body, if it's ghada'iyya, meaning mush, and some people, when you go to the hospital and you can't eat food, what do they give you? Glucose, right? Brother, I'm telling you, that thing is like many meals. Sah? It's like the person, he finishes that, he's awake again. Sah? So that thing and your food becomes the same. Why is this person even fasting for? What's he staying away from? He's got every nutrition and everything in his body. So that will break his fast. Are we all together? So that's again, the vaccine, is it source of nutrition? That's the debate that's going on right now. These vaccines that people are taking, does it give you, is it source of nutrition or is it not? That goes back to the specialist. If they say yes, there is some source of nutrition. If they say that, then it breaks your fast. If they say no, then it's not, inshaAllah. Does that make sense? What about the asthma thingy? Okay, so fadal. Yeah, that would be, it's a source of nutrition. Water going into your system, right? It's nutrition. So yeah, of course it's going to break your fasting. He doesn't have to fast in the first place. Not anyone who is ill doesn't even need to fast in the first place. There's no need for this. Yeah, he's excused. He doesn't have to fast at all. That makes sense. What about people who take asthma? The asthma pump. Is it called asthma pump? It's got another name. Inhaler. There you go. The inhaler, hey, does it break your fasting? Yeah? So if we go according to our principle that we mentioned, anything goes in your mouth, it breaks your fast. But some scholars, they distinguish the inhaler into two. They say that there's some inhaler which is just smoke. And there's nothing to it. There's no moist to it. They say it doesn't break your fast. Are we all together? And they say if it's got moist, like watery things in it, that one is what? It breaks your fast. I used to believe that there's that tafsil in the beginning, but now anything that goes in the mouth, it doesn't matter what it is, what breaks your fast. It goes into the mouth, breaks the fast. Because then that would mean we would have to say smoking is what? Cigarette. It doesn't break your fast on that argument. What about if a person has sexual intercourse deliberately? What's the issue here? So what happened to the remember here we're talking about intimacy, no other means. We're specifically talking about intimacy between the wife and the husband. That's what took place. Okay? What happens to the fasting? Is it broken? Okay, that's all agreed upon. There's no difference of opinion on that issue. But does the breaking of the fasting here happen the minute the two genitals comes into contact? Or what about if they didn't finish their business and halfway they stopped? What about that situation? And there's no inzal. Yeah? 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 So that which is strongest is if both of them come into contact, they're now considered jima'. We'll look at this is very important information we need to take. This one now, their fasting is gone, and there's another issue that needs to now be discussed, which is kafara, an expiation. Are we all together? They have to free a slave. If they can't find it, they have to fast 2 consecutive months. Are we all together? فَصِيَامُ شَهْرَيْنِ مُتَتَابِعَيْنِ. These 2 months that they're fasting consecutively, are we all together? What about if it breaks? Yeah? They what? You start again. Are we all together? What about if the person becomes sick in between it? Two months on the, last day, you got sick. Yeah? Yeah? So anybody who is ill and sick, they're excused, inshaAllah ta'ala. What about if the person can't do that? He can't fast. He physically cannot fast 2 consecutive months. Not because he's, that's going to be long and this is going to be hard for me. No. Are we all together? But he is an elderly person who can fast but can't do that. 2 months is going to be too hard for him. Or the person becomes, he's going to lose, or he started and he realized he's losing too much weight rapidly. And now the doctors are saying, look, wait, you can't do this yourself. What does he do? He now has to feed sittina miskina. If they by accidentally had intimacy, they carry on their fasting like nothing happened. No, they just say, khalas. It's like a person who ate or drank. Are we all together? If it's a what? This is another one, which is if the fasting is voluntary, not obligatory, and they have intimacy, what is the kafara still applied? Some of the scholars, they said yes. The reason is because once you go into the fasting, you're not allowed to just disconnect yourself from it. Are we all together? Some scholars, they said because it's voluntary fasting, it's not allowed. So it's allowed, it's their choice. If they want, they can break it. But it's dangerous. To be very careful. I'm more inclined that the kafara doesn't apply here, but be careful. It's very dangerous to play with the boundaries set by Allah. But if it's qada of Ramadan, pay attention. I'm bringing back Ramadan in another time. It takes the ruling of Ramadan. Does that make sense? There's 2 days of Ramadan that's outstanding. And then December, I'm fasting those 2 days. And then in the middle of the day, I can't just have intimacy with my spouse. If I do, there's a kafara. Does that make sense? Because those 2 days of Ramadan have been dragged for those 2 days for you there. Once you got in, you're in Ramadan. You're what? You're in Ramadan. Anyone have a question? Somebody? Faddal. Which one? Yeah, 60, he has to feed them. Yeah, that we mentioned only the strongest opinion here, inshaAllah ta'ala, which we see. But what does he give the 60 people? What does he give them? What food are you going to give them? You're going to give them the food of the land. Does that make sense? So you give them the food that's well known in that country. See, can you do it all in one day? Yeah? Can you do it all in one day? You can bring all 60 of them one time here. Can you? You can. What about if I choose to give them raw meat, raw stuff? I'm not going to give you cooked food. I'm going to give you the raw meat. Here it is. Or I'm going to give you the raw, what do you call it, rice, or I'm not going to cook it for you. Can I do that? Yeah? I can. Another question. Another question is, let's say the person paid the kafara and within the same day had intimacy again. He's not fasting, fasting broke. But he did intimacy again in the same day, even though he paid for it. The reason I ask you because these questions come up. So it needs to be answered so people one time can know it, inshaAllah ta'ala. So do we look at the day or do we look at the times he's had intimacy? And Imam Ahmed saw that he has to do kafara again. And Imam Ahmed, rahimahullah, he believed you did it again, same day, kafara again. But that which seems apparent is that we're looking at the day. Are we all together? We're looking at the day, and that's what matters. The man, the evidences show that the companion, when he came to the Prophet ﷺ, and he said, Ya Rasulullah, ahlaktu, I've destroyed myself. And the Prophet said, what did you do? And he said, Jama'tu imra'ati fi nahari Ramadan. I had intimacy with my wife in the daytime of Ramadan. The Prophet made the man go through the kafara we mentioned. Does that make sense? But he never asked about the wife. The narration doesn't state that he asked about the wife. Why? Some of the scholars took from that the woman doesn't have to do the kafara. Are we all together? The kafara is who? It's upon the man. And it's not what? It's not upon the woman. Are we all together? Some of the scholars, they took it from there. Some scholars, they said, no. Whatever the Prophet said to him was indirectly telling him, go tell your wife this as well. Does that make sense? That which seems apparent is that the ruling is for both wife and husband. Are we all together? Because whatever the man is told generally in the Sharia is the woman is also told. Unless there's a distinct evidence that says this is for the men, this is for the women. Because the principle is what? An-nisa'u shaqa'iqur rijal. The women are the same with the men when it comes to the religion, right? Ahkam that apply on the man applies on the woman. If the woman does an act of deed and the man does an act of deed, the reward is the same. And the punishment is the same. So they're both the same. Does that make sense? What about if a person has, doesn't do sexual intercourse but fulfills himself in any other way? Does it break his fast? It breaks his fast. Is there kafara on him? Is there an expiation on him? That which seems apparent, there isn't. Okay? What about vomiting deliberately? Yeah? It breaks your fast. If you deliberately, what about a person left Islam in the month of Ramadan? And they came back straight away. Yeah? Fajr, they left after Salatul Fajr. They were fasting, they left Islam, and then Dhuhr, they realized, Inna lillah, what did I just do? So that fasting is broken. Can anyone give me the evidence? Daleel. I'll give them 100 dirham. Let me see if I've got it first. Wait, yeah? No, I want Daleel. Wait 1 second. Let me get the 100 dirham out. I don't want to agree to something I don't have. Yes, I have it. I'm putting it there. Yeah? What's the evidence? The question is, what's the evidence that if the person apostates from Islam, that this deed is nullified. The fasting is gone. I even gave you the I gave you the explanation. Yeah. There's a dispute whether the fasting, which is mas'ala, can, the day of judgment, we know Allah is going to say to the disbelievers, why didn't you pray? صح؟ ما سلككم في سقر قالوا لم نكن من المصلين ولم نكن نطعم المسكين وكنا نخوض مع الخائضين وكنا نكذب بيوم الدين. صح? So when they ask, why are you in hellfire? They will say, we were what? We never prayed. So the ayats that say وَأَقِيمُوا الصَّلَاةِ is talking to the non-Muslims as well. The fasting is also talking to the non-Muslims as well. But it won't be accepted from them unless they're Muslims. That's what the ayah يَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا كُتِبَ عَلَيْكُمُ الصِّيَامُ means. But I'm talking about this person left Islam and came back. Correct. What's the dalil? You're right. I want evidence for that. Yeah? وَمَنْ يَبْتَغِ غَيْرَ الْإِسْلَامِ دِينًا فَلَنْ يُقْبَلَ مِنْهُ وَهُوَ فِي الْآخِرَةِ مِنَ الْخَاسِرِينَ. That's not an evidence. It's not strong. I'm looking for direct, صَرِيحٌ صَحِيحٌ. 100 dirhams here. Shall I put a timer to it so I can go back to my wallet? هي فضل. What's ayah? But this person might have left Islam but not by shirk. You brought the ayah, لَإِنْ أَشْرَكْتُمْ لَيَحْبَطَنَّ عَمَلُكُمْ. If you do shirk, so shirk is one way of leaving Islam. But this person left Islam not by way of shirk. They might have left by throwing the mushaf or... Yeah. Read the ayah. وَمَنْ يَرْتَدِدْ مِنْكُمْ عَنْ دِينِهِ فَيَمُتْ وَهُوَ كَافِرٌ. صحيح. Is your 100 dirham. No, I want you to take it. You're not allowed to reject it. It's yours. If you don't want to give it to sadaqah or khair, you can, inshallah. Allahumma barik. Allah. So if you guys haven't written the evidence, take it, inshallah ta'ala. So he's a kafir. So it shows anyone who's a kafir, habitat a'maluhum. He didn't die. We said he's not died. This person didn't die. The person who dies, it just shows kufr actions get nullified from kufr. That's all I needed. There's ayat which are more صريحة. Surah Al-Ma'idah. وَمَنْ يَكْفُرْ بِالْإِيمَانِ. Does anyone know that verse? Anyone who does kufr, or disbelieves, وَمَنْ يَكْفُرْ بِالْإِيمَانِ فَقَدْ حَبِطَ عَمَلُهُ. His actions is nullified. وَهُوَ فِي الْآخِرَةِ مِنَ الْخَاسِرِينَ. That verse is also another verse, and that's also another verse. What about if a person changes his intention while he's fasting? He's like, you know what? I'm breaking my fast. No, I'm going to carry on my fast. He said that. Does that break his fast? He changed his fast intention and then he went back to it. So the majority of the scholars are of the opinion that fasting is gone because you broke your intention. Because what's the condition for the fasting? Istimrariyatun niyyah. The intention has to carry on. Also, what breaks your fasting is خروج الدم الحيض والنفاس. The woman, she sees menstruation. She has to what? It breaks her fasting. Khalas. The fasting is what? It's over. So let's repeat the things that break your fasting again. Number 1, we said it's what? Eating and drinking deliberately. Also, sexual intercourse. We also mentioned vomiting deliberately. If it's not deliberate, no. Changing your intention. the blood of menstruation and postnatal bleeding. Also the hijama, if it weakens the person, it breaks their fasting, right? If it weakens you, it breaks your fasting. If it doesn't weaken you, no, it doesn't.